Hi, yeah, back again. This is the second day in which I'm answering a call to allow Jeshua to come forth. I've been working as a channel for him for over a decade and feeling that the world situation is evolving in such a way that messages from him and feeling connected with him and feeling to share that connection and seeking, as I think a lot of people are, finding out, well, what's going on behind the scenes here in this larger world picture around the coronavirus, around everything that's happening, around these incredibly profound changes that are happening, unprecedented as we know. So just inviting him in, and I'd say an inner prayer, and then he comes through and we'll see what he has to say. And indeed, once again, I come forth for the joy of the joining, for my joy at joining with you, who are my equal, who are one with me in a sense, and yet a oneness which is also an individuation. You have heard the analogies, like the leaves on the tree, the waves in the ocean, and so on. Feelings in the heart, thoughts in the mind, loving thoughts. There is both oneness and individuation, the oneness of type, of likeness, of being made of the same stuff, as it were, like the waves in the ocean. And yet, there is also individuation, and I, as an individuated being, come to you as relationship with the other aspects of the one, brings joy. And because I have learned to heal myself and love myself, I, the one the world once knew as Jesus, and still knows as Jesus in a sense. It is not to say that you do not still know me, but rather that there was a time I walked upon your planet and learned like you are learning. The name Jeshua, as my friends would have known me in my language, means the way shower. It does not mean the one above who you are unlike. The way shower. And the way that I seek to show you is to joy, that you might enjoy and relish the connection and the relationship that is possible, not only between us, but the relationships that you can have with all of the created realms in ever-expanding frequencies and circles of joy. And why, Jeshua, are you speaking so much of joy when there is so much turmoil? Why are you speaking of joy when what we are really seeking answers to is our suffering? And the great virus and the great sickness and what will be happening and so on, the change of the world and so much loss in a sense. Beloved friends, I speak to you because that which you are cannot suffer true loss. You can have the experience of loss, like going to the movie theater and witnessing, your Romeo and Juliet, And you do wish that perhaps the ending would be different next time. And yet you go to that show knowing that is the ending, and you will have that experience. It is not unlike what is called the dream of separation. The coming into form, identifying your soul so much with what is called the body, the physical experience, that you forget who you are and you become to think you are only the sensory apparatus and this mechanical thing. Very much like going into the movie that you know the ending to, you will have a certain type of experience. You will have a certain type of experience when you choose to do what you are doing in your relationship with what is called the body. When you identify with something vulnerable and temporary, you will experience something. Now, we use the example of the Romeo and Juliet, and there is grief and sadness at the end, is there not? And this writer was the great genius at creating these experiences. Yet you are no less brilliant a writer of your own script. And you have chosen to enter into a certain storyline. You are experiencing it firsthand, much more so than merely sitting in the seat in the movie theater. It is like the greatest special effects crews have gotten together and perfected it in such a way that it seems like you are even in a body. These are very powerful special effects. But what I am saying is very true. You are not this body any more than you are the movie that you might go to see. And what you see and what you experience here is edited in such a way by the perceptual systems of the body as to create an experience which is in fact what could be called unreal, because it is based on nothing. That experience which you are choosing to ramp up a bit, and when I say you, we're speaking the world consciousness as a whole, you are choosing to ramp it up a bit at the moment, and the experience is called fear. What then to do? First, look at your relationship with fear. Is there a sense that I would rather avoid the feeling? Is there a sense that, I would rather not have fear, of course, but here it is happening to me. How can I not be afraid these things are happening? What I invite you to do is to reclaim the truth and bring your attention fully to your creation of fear. You have chosen from a soul level to be in this incarnated state at all, and therefore have chosen, like going to the movie, to have a certain experience knowing that it is coming. And if we were to say, oh, I'm going to Romeo and Juliet, a friend says to us, and how will I handle the ending this time? And we would say, we would invite you to breathe with it fully and feel the sadness going through every cell of your body. To, in effect, through embrace, through the willingness and the desire and the engagement of the full feeling state, to love the sadness, love it by embracing it. In the same way, we invite you to see the deeper meaning of what is occurring in the world at this time, this deep fear. You have chosen the script, you are living the play now, and here it is, this event is unfolding and occurring, a worldwide event. And you are still in the teeth of it, are you not? There is more to come. And is there a desire to recognize the fear but push it away a bit? We invite you to consider doing just the opposite. And this is how. Sit in a quiet space. Give yourself at least 5 minutes. Much longer would be beneficial, but at least 5 minutes in your busy day. And begin by putting all of your attention, so there is no attention for anything else, on the breathing. It could be on something else. It is just to put your attention on something fully. But we would invite you to do the breath because it has some benefits in other ways as well. To feel fully the breath entering the body and exiting the body. 100% of your attention. Then to invite in consciously the experience of fear that is being generated. You might ask yourself, what am I most afraid of in this situation? What are my top 3 fears? And invite each one in like a child to your lap, to your heart, to your belly, and continue to breathe as you do this. As the fear arises, you will notice a clenching, a tightening, and the breath will tighten. At that time, consciously take a deeper breath. And you will notice that the fear floods in a bit more. And then a deeper breath again. Allowing the fear to be welcomed. The fear of death is something that lives with you whenever you are identified with a body, which for well more than 99% of the population is almost all the time. Therefore, you are being given the opportunity to look at this. Can I invite in the fullness of the fear which is underlying my human experience much of the time? Can I turn and embrace it and discover what occurs when I do? To shake and to feel the fear fully, and just as you sit in your 5 minutes, and welcome it as if it has a great, precious gift for you, and it does. The gifts will be a little unique for each of you as you embrace fear, but know that this is the exercise we would suggest, to be willing to see the beauty and the gift that this primal fear of being a body can bring for you. It will transform your life and your world. And it is a precious opportunity being generated by world events at this time. The tendency you may notice as your day goes along to, do I engage or do I pull back from this? But in pulling back, there is a sense of resistance, which then lives with you, and it becomes a burden and a weight. So when you hear what could be called the horrible news, we are not saying we suggest you watch it all day, because there is something else going on, a larger, more loving story than what is being broadcast on your news channels. But when you do hear these stories, the fearful stories, breathe fully with it, embrace it fully. And if you hear the tragic story of the child dying, or of the husband and wife marrying just before they each die of the virus, and all of these things, much like your Romeo and Juliet, allow the sadness, embrace the sadness, be fully human as all of this occurs, as challenging as that may seem, because there is a gift in all of it, and it would not be occurring if this were not so. As a man, I did not avoid these things. I was not above watching and observing, but I felt the grief. Many were sick in my day. Much of the time. There was constant illness. It was a component of life. The young, the old, all beings vulnerable to sudden illness that would take a life. It was something we lived with on a daily basis. Much, much more than you have had to, because of your technologies and the change in consciousness and so on. But I am not unfamiliar with what you are experiencing, is what I am saying, as a man. And the challenge is to allow the heart to open again, even when one knows there is going to be more pain. But pain is only the resistance to feeling. It is not the feeling itself. If we are going to get technical, we would say pain exists, but suffering is the resistance. We are with you. Not only I, but many of what you would call the ascended masters and the saints and the archangels. We are aware of what is occurring on your planet. You are not alone. This is not being done to you. It is being done for you at your request. And why? Well, this is one of the reasons why, that you might engage your relationship with fear in a profound and direct and fully encompassing way, increasingly, that you become free of fear itself. I can tell you from experience it is a journey worth taking. The breath will be your guide and your ally, as the Holy Spirit joining with you, as the bridge to God. I send you my blessing, and I express gratitude for the joy of joining with you at this time. Amen.